The views and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to the hosts and their guests and do not reflect the views of any outside institutions unless explicitly stated.
What's up, everyone? My name is Steve Vanderwall, and I'm the host of Cannabis Cum Laude, a podcast devoted entirely to cannabis. This podcast will cover a full spectrum of topics, including cultivation, business, medicine, politics, culture, advocacy, and everything in between. Because let's face it, the cannabis industry is very complicated. It's robust, and it has a ton of moving parts. So it's going to be my job to help you understand it a little bit better. So tune in every week for a brand new episode. And if you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. And if you really like the show and are interested in sponsoring, please shoot me an email at logistics@cannabiscumlaude.com. Now enjoy the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cannabis Cum Laude, here with my good friend Corinne Devine. She's been on the show before. We're here to do our 1-year update. It was just about a year ago that we were up talking about it, and it was, early on in the licensing process and right when things were starting to get off the ground. A lot has happened over the past year.
Yes.
For those who don't know Corinne, she is a cannabis chemist who is the director of labs and product development at Bristol Extracts, and they are a licensed adult use or a conditionally licensed adult use processor in the state of New York.
Yes.
Very exciting. It's a mouthful.
The most exciting. Yep. Great introduction. Thank you. I know it is a lot of words, but it is complicated what we do. We're doing a lot.
Yeah, you're doing a lot. And
we are.
I think last time we talked, everything was still kind of unrolling.
Yeah, so we talked last March, and I think it was right after the Bristol Extract CBD line launched.
Wow.
So now that's a year old. A lot has happened in a year. About a year ago, March 2022, was when the conditional program was brought forth to Kathy Hochul, I believe. And so that's when that all got approved, and we've been on that track ever since. And so it's great a year later to be a UCP and have products that are out in the market. We have CAURDs, more acronyms, the conditional adult use retail dispensaries that our products are in. Definitely. I mean, New York State OCM, CCB.
Card, AUCP,
Yep, DASNY. Which I don't even want to get into that can of worms. Yeah, we're going to leave that one alone.
Not talking about DASNY.
Not at all.
Kidding.
No, we can talk about, we have 3 brands at market now. It launched about a month ago. So March is just the product launch month for us. And we launched Love Weed, Senior Moments, and Snobby Dankins. We have products
Love Weed
here to show off.
Check it out.
Yep, Love Weed. This is our female-centric, modern, elevated cannabis brand for the modern New York woman. We feature unique gummy flavors such as lychee and ginger, and we also have half-gram vapes in the Love Weed line. Our other brand is Senior Moments, and that is for the baby boomer generation, middle-aged cannabis users. Very balanced products that are simple and familiar to them. They're making like a revisit to cannabis, so it's pretty cool to just include them in the community and give them a fun narrative, And the Snobby Dankins brand is our last brand.
I love that name.
That is our cannabis connoisseur brand. We have 1 gram vape cartridges in that brand, and we're soon to launch a 1,000 milligram THC tincture for Snobby Dankins.
Snobby Dankins. I love that.
Yes, this is cannabis-derived terpenes in a 1 gram cartridge.
Do you think we should we sample one of them?
Absolutely. Yeah, except we have 1 battery, so here, you kick it off. I love the on-air live reaction, so.
Formulated by you.
Formulated by me, grown by us, under the New York sun. Grown by Jason Partial, our director of cultivation. He's out of Naples, right in the Bristol Valley. We're all local,
This one?
You got to screw on the cart. There's no cart on there. Yo, that's embarrassing. Outtakes.
I was just testing it.
That is so funny.
Yes. That's so funny. Yo,
grown by us,
table.
extracted by us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what goes into creating a product like this?
Well, a lot goes into it. The growing, the extracting, like we spoke about, and then the ideation. Really, we knew we wanted a 1 gram vape cart for the connoisseur line to give people who are frequent cannabis users a large enough product that will last them, and
Lovely.
Yeah, and then we wanted to focus on the cannabis-derived terpenes. We have a unique strain extract in each SKU of Snobby Dankins. So
Okay.
we launched with 3 1-gram vape cartridges, sativa hybrid indica. In the hybrid that we're smoking right now, I believe, the gray package that you have there.
Yep.
This is our cherry chem fruit.
Cherry chem. Now, what made you decide what strains that you guys wanted to cultivate this year? Was there a lot of planning that went into, we're going to use this because it has this profile and it has these effects? What went into choosing the strains that you ultimately ended up
This
making
hits so
products with?
smooth.
It's so nice. Because I'm a cougher too. I am a cougher. Everybody thinks, oh, that guy doesn't even smoke.
No, they're so smooth.
Yep. Nice.
Smooth and delicious.
There you are.
Certainly snobby. Yeah, we have selected what strains we're growing this year. We're growing more strains. Last year it was 8 photos and 2 autos, just strains. And this year I believe it's 20.
Nice.
I've been less involved on it, luckily. Like we've been able to compartmentalize as we've brought on more people. So I'm not totally up to speed on the whole process, but I know last year we sourced the genetics because we were interested in the breeder and the work that he did, and it's all translated onto the Snobby Dankins website where we explain choosing like the genetics for each SKU and how that plugged in on that side. So yeah, it's exciting times. We got the QR code, you know, there's a lot that goes into these products.
So what has it been like? You know, we have a handful of card licensees out, or like actual dispensaries up and running now, maybe 5?
I think it's about 6, 8.
6, 8.
Around there, yeah.
New York City, Binghamton,
Albany, let's see.
Ithaca.
Ithaca, yes. Out near Lake Placid area, they're getting one soon as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's it been like, you know, working with them? You guys have products on shelves?
We do have products on shelves. We're in about 6 of the roughly 8 that are open. So almost every store we're in. We're in Union Square in the city, Housing Works in the city as well, Upstate Canna in Albany, Just Breathe in Binghamton, and William Jane in Ithaca. I might be missing some, but those are at least our core.
That's huge.
Yeah, and it's basically all the ones that are open. There's a few more that are open. Can't wait till more online, but it's been great working with them. You know, they're getting their footing, and luckily, at least I can only speak for Bristol, but we have a team that has a few very experienced individuals on it who have been through this before. So luckily we're already broken in and know what we're doing. And so it's been nice to share that knowledge with the dispensary owners, and everyone's just been very supportive, I would say, you know, very cooperative. We all have the same goal, and we're all just trying to do it well. And that also extends, honestly, to the OCM. I will give them a shout out that they are definitely very collaborative and supportive and cooperative. Yeah.
No, that's good. I think that's the only way that this whole thing is going to work.
Absolutely.
You know? And I'm curious, you know, there's a lot of other shops going online right now. I think they just released another 90 licenses or something like that.
Yep. This past Monday, I believe it was, they licensed 99 more card licensees. And so it's just like, how fast can they get those stores open? Us processors were dying for more stores to be open.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only going to get better for you guys.
Yeah, it will get better. It'll get more hectic.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about this today. It's going to be just this 2-edge attack of more dispensaries are open, and we're also going to be launching more SKUs. And so it's just going to be like an explosion, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's like going from 0 to 100. I just feel like everybody, you know, like the Bristol Extracts of the world were waiting around for this happen for years. And
all of a sudden, I mean, it's been 4 months since Housing Works opened. Not even, you know, they opened December 29th, right? So, Yeah, it's moving fast. I know people want it to move faster. I really hope the next round that was just licensed can get open pretty quick.
Yeah, and I hear that May we're going to see another regulations package. So
yes, I hope so.
And then they're anticipating another 45-day comment period after that. But I'm thinking maybe fall we might see the rest of the licenses, the rest of the cultivation licenses, the micro licenses. I do feel like it, obviously, it's been a bit of a slow rollout, and really no fault to anybody in particular. I mean, there's just a lot of bureaucracy in New York State, and everything takes forever. And obviously, the democratic process of release a package, 60-day comment, release a package, 60. I mean, it just takes a long time, and there's reasons for that. But I do think over the next year, once this regulations package gets revised and licenses start to come out, everyone's going to go from 0 to 100. You're going to start to see more shops popping up, small growers. I think it's going to be really exciting going into 2024.
Absolutely. And along with that excitement, it will be more competitive. And I was also talking with Rosanna about this recently. The injunction, luckily, has been dropped in all of the regions except for the Finger Lakes, which is where we happen to live and operate, but it's okay. I'll take Syracuse and Central and Western New York and Brooklyn, of course. And so what's interesting, Long Island, they have one of the highest allocation of card sites, and it's all population-based, the card site allocation. However, a lot of the municipalities in Long Island have opted out of retail and consumption, and so it's frustrating to just witness that not lining up, and doesn't make any sense. If there's no opt-in, then population-based allocation should be ignored.
Well, and
because then you're going to have very select few places that the shops can't open. They have 24 that they're allowed to open. There's going to be 6 on a block, and it's so competitive.
And there's that 1,000-foot rule too. So I don't know. I mean, that's obviously a little more relevant in New York City, but I don't know.
It's still dense in Long Island. There's a lot of churches, schools.
Yeah, and most of Long Island opted out, so it's going to be really interesting to see where these dispensaries pop up.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they use all their 24, and those should get redispersed because we have the space up here. We have the people who are opting in and interested and supportive of this program.
Yeah, I think they should. And I'd be curious, obviously I'm very excited for everybody else. It does suck that, the Finger Lakes of all regions is still, on the injunction list. But hopefully, this is really just for card when it comes to general dispensaries and micros and, those other retail outlets. The injunction does not apply to those other licenses. I think the injunction just applies to card, right? Yep.
That's my current understanding as well. Yep. And then you got the other lawsuit that says just open it all up for everyone. So that would open up all those other licenses, right?
I'm curious to see how that, I mean, I'm glad that it's happening. I do think it's going to be what has to happen for this to move expeditiously. Nobody should be surprised by it. I think we all saw this coming. I think we all kind of thought, we were hearing rumors about lifting the injunction, except the Finger Lakes for a month before that happened. So I do think we're starting to see, I think this is playing out how a lot of legal experts, and particularly, predicted. The question is, how long does this get tied up in court? How fast can is the Finger Lakes going to be the only region for another 6 months or 7 months or 8 months that doesn't have any legal sales channels?
I hope not.
I hope not. I mean, the people that really hurts is our local farmers, our local makers. It's
tax revenue.
Tax revenue.
So, jobs.
Yeah.
There's some real jobs that to support the explosion of businesses that will premiere in this industry. You need the jobs to support them. So, I mean, it will just be carrying out the vision that, OCM and us operators have had for New York State. I don't want to dive too much into the injunction, but it just boggles me how, I think it's federal legislation that they are referencing of the Dormant Commerce Clause, and I don't know how that is applicable in this circumstance of a scheduled, this is just a state
Yeah, how could you
state
have
thing.
a federal commerce issue and interstate commerce is not even allowed?
Exactly.
I don't understand how. I
But
don't
I'm
understand
no
how
lawyer.
the
It's okay. It's
yeah.
okay.
Well, the good news is they're making progress. Hopefully by fall, like we were saying, we might start to see. I'm just so anxious for this micro. I mean, everybody, I feel like that's a really highly anticipated license. And I think if implemented well, we'll start to see. Thank you. I don't know. I'm a big proponent of small craft. I think the micro license is going to be huge. I've been, kind of screaming that from the top of my soapbox for 4 years. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I also think it provides arguably the best option for legacy operators to come in through. Maybe minus like a tier one, like, small square footage cultivation license. But, there's some really good brands around this area. There's some good brands out in Buffalo. Shout out to Hetty's. They're doing really cool stuff out in Buffalo. They seem to be vertically integrated, so there's some. I'm just curious to see who's, we're starting to see an emergence of all these brands and faces to brands, and there's really becoming this little, cottage industry in Rochester and everywhere. It'll be curious to see who makes the legal plunge and who doesn't.
Definitely. Yep. And then who's going to make the plunge and who can hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a ride, but it's awesome to get here. There's an innovative product that I saw at Union Square. It's unique, it has a time and place. It's called the Birth J, and it's just like a little candle topper on a joint for like
That's
a
so
cake.
cool.
Yeah, very novelty, but so it is cool to see the innovation and brands that are coming out. And of course the products. I mean, I feel great about our products. We've launched some delicious, effective, incredible products.
Yeah.
I love, the testing, the peace of mind, really, and just, it's just the highest quality, really, that you can get, I would say. And I've had other not so great experiences with some products that I've purchased at the legal dispensary. And I definitely will not name any names, but like you hit a vape and you get a headache immediately.
Really?
Not the vibe.
You wouldn't really expect that from a legal supply chain.
No, but maybe just whatever's in it. That's also the thing is cannabis is so chemodiverse and complicated that all these different extracts and products, they all have different like profiles and things that we don't even test for and identify, right? Yeah. So it's cool though. There's products for everyone, and that's actually ties into upcoming. There's MJ Unpacked in New York City.
End of the month, right?
Yep, end of the month in Midtown at the Hilton in Manhattan. It's like a 3-day conference, and I'll be speaking on a panel that's talking about how synthetic cannabinoids affect your business. And on a call that we all had recently for the panelists, we were just talking about how there can be, like a lane for all of these unique things, and they all do have these different profiles, and native molecules can be present or absent from that composition. And they're all just unique and can have their own lane, right? But it just all has to be defined.
Well, it's funny. Did you get
very
the
new.
email?
Which email?
There's an email that literally I got it today. So I have a hemp CBD retail license for my CBD business. And I just got this emailed from the OCM. It's it's called Hemp Advisory Notice is the title. Important update. And this came in today at 3:01 p.m. The Office of Cannabis Management has become aware of the sale of high THC hemp-derived products marketed as meeting the definition of hemp, having a Delta-9 THC content below 0.3% THC. These high THC products are a public health risk, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, an emergency regulation package will be issued shortly identifying permissible milligram units of THC in cannabinoid hemp products. So not as much about secondary cannabinoids and stuff like that, but more, or synthetic cannabinoids, but more people are using this hemp-derived THC loophole where you're starting to see hemp-derived THC, and it's still THC. But a lot of these smoke shops, a lot of these bodegas around here have like really well-branded THC products that I think that what everybody's, the big issue is it's like a dry weight per gram, and nobody really knows, and it's not really being enforced. So I think a lot of people think that they're being compliant, and maybe they are, but it does sound like
Yeah,
there's a kibosh coming on that.
Yeah, they're getting the scent of it, right? But yeah, I mean, there's even a brand who is doing that, and they're using the same brand that is in the adult use space. And it's a little confusing. You know, it's brand X, and then in the hemp space, it's brand X hemp.
Really?
Yeah, and it's hemp drive Delta 9. And so I should clarify that panel at MJ Unpacked is synthetic hemp-derived cannabinoids, because some people get confused with synthetic cannabinoids being the like JWH molecules that are in spice, K2.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, again, yeah, they're all just like unique compounds, right? And can have their own lane. And
Yep.
I think the unique thing that cannabis should focus on and own and represent is preservation of like the plant profile, like staying as true to the plant as possible, or natural sources. Just claiming, they're from a natural source instead of synthesized. And then I like to adopt the term modified cannabinoid for some of these cannabinoids that are like THCOA, THC acetate, which is just a different thing in and of itself to increase the binding and affinity of the THC molecule, adding that acetate side chain to make it more potent, and it binds tighter to your receptor. So it's a more intense experience than traditional Delta 9. There's such a diverse space, and that's just chemical space in general is a diverse, like never ending universe of chemicals and molecules.
It's crazy because a lot of these smoke shops and stuff, I've never had THCOA or any of the derivatives. I do tend to stay away from it. I had a Delta 8 gummy one time, and I definitely was stoned. It was a little bit different than a Delta 9, but I tend to say to flower and regular Delta 9. But from what I've heard, the THCOA is very potent, very intoxicating, and it blows my mind that because of a legal loophole and because of a chemistry it's a technicality that these products can legally up until now, where they're putting together packages, sit on people's shelves, and we don't even know what the long-term effects are, if they have any. It's all kind of crazy. They're
very unresearched, right? I don't mess with the modified or synthetic distillate cannabinoids. I'm more permissive on synthetic isolates, I would say. If something's 99.95% pure, and it has all its other, typical full panel analyses on it, then I'm less worried about that. Regardless, we never use any of that in like our combustible inhalable products. And I think that's the big concern is synthetic distillates. They can be less pure and more contaminated. And then once you combust or vaporize that, it can create some nasty side products if there's chemical residues in that synthetic material. So, but it is labor intensive to extract THC from cannabis and make it industrially make sense.
Yeah, and that's not everybody. I mean, the equipment alone, we've talked about this before. You have to be a well-financed operation, to be able to do commercial grade extraction. And it's
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, that's why operators tend to, eventually, I don't know why I keep knocking into this. Operators tend to, obviously scale up the operation, get bigger and bigger equipment to realize economies of scale. And so that's actually an interesting question to ask you, since you're so interested in the micro license. Do you think that is limiting having like a cap on essentially the productivity and scale that you can reach, and not being able to maybe compete with people who are at larger scale?
So I've never really worried about that, because there's better value and higher ticket price in smaller batch stuff. When you start looking at these huge rooms with 10 tables per room and 100 lights, I mean, that's just a lot of product. And in the first couple of years, you're going to sell that product. There's no doubt. Like, there's people who, if they get off the ground early, they have good facility, they're efficient, they have a good accountant team. Whatever they can grow, as long as they're going to sell, right? I mean, older outdoor weed is selling for a decent ticket right now. So when indoor comes in, you are going to see people who do really well. I don't worry. I think, the way that I've set up my design for my future facility, our one real restriction right now is 3,500 square feet of flowering canopy, which in my opinion is great. That's 4 light rooms, So, for me, I look, what I try to do is always have more variety rather than like running a single room, it might be a single plant. It might be easier to like dial it, like your irrigation in and your environmentals, especially if you know that strain really well, you can give it its perfect environmentals. But like, who wants 60 pounds of the same strain? So I think, although yes, you won't be able to really, I think if you're talking about small scale and less employees and super efficient rooms with a veg room and like a good schedule, I mean, if you're putting out a 30 light room, if you're a good grower, you're pushing 60 to 90 pounds per run of 4 different strains, and especially with a micro, you'll be able to have retail, which you'll be able to get that higher ticket, which allows you to be more competitive, and whatever's left over, a lot of these dispensaries are going to need more product. So do I think, I think that
Are you allowed to sell your product to other dispensaries?
I was under the assumption
I know you can sell your own you only can sell your own product at your own store.
I was under the impression that you could wholesale maybe to other micros. I think that needs clarification. I think that needs, but also like, let's say that you can't and you can only sell it through retail. I mean, 60 pounds. I mean, and then also think, if you're 3,500 square feet, you have 4 rooms, you're rotating every 15 days, right? Every 16 days.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah.
So you're pulling, 60 pounds of flour every 15 days. That's a lot of 1/8 and ounces. So
yeah, and see, that's the thing in that scenario, you want to be selling that as smokable. Because who wants 60 pounds of the same strain? Sometimes us processors do. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things that concerns me about the New York program is this cultivation framework, how it's currently set up. It's not so friendly towards kind of making like highest quality concentrates possible because we don't have the highest quality and volume of high quality flour for methods that don't remediate microbials and other issues like solventless extraction. And people should and do demand for rosin, and we should be able to make some fire rosin. But it is difficult to have the quality input. I'm like kind of freezing from this fan.
Are you?
Suddenly, sorry.
Shut it off.
But yeah, how you liking the vape? It's a great vape.
Stoned. No, it's great. It's so smooth. Very well done.
Thank you.
All right, if you're still cold, let me know. We'll see if we can have Fitz turn the heat up.
Oh, no heat. It was hot in here before. All of a sudden, I'm cold. It's probably the weed.
Yeah. It'll make
messes
you
with your body
chilly.
temperature a little bit, but it's all good.
No, honestly, I've had people ask me that all the time. It's like, 3,500 square feet for me is plenty. That's a lot of room. That gives you a lot of room. If you're primarily focusing on smokable flower, which I think if that's a facility that you have, you should. But also, if you're pulling I make extracts and rosin with high quality lower buds, like never trim,
like small buds.
And you can, that goes a long way from the terms, rosin has a great ticket, but you can also accumulate rosin and, food grade over the course of, multiple runs, decarb it and be able to make a lot of edibles with it. So I think if people can be really efficient with their facility design, my facility design is to maximize that 3,500 square feet and build everything around it. Okay, 3,500 square feet. I have an 8 divided by 4 rooms is 875 square feet per room. You should generally have for a veg room double that, so 16 to 1,700 square foot veg. And now you have your cultivation. Now you can build around that. And I think that if people with micro license adopt that mentality and say, we need to be, even if you don't set your 4 rooms up with full equipment right off the bat, set yourself up room to grow into. Because if you're a good brand and you have a good product and you're a good grower, soon enough, especially in the first 3 years, you're going to be pushing the limits of that facility. And that's a good sign.
Definitely.
What happens if you get to a point where you reach production capacity. I don't know. I mean, is that just the reality of a micro? Sure, but I think we'll start to see people getting really efficient with vertical grow systems and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know, if you're a small 8-9 person operation and you're pushing, you're maxing out a micro facility, you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see how many stores are open by year end.
I know.
Yeah. Because, I just wonder how many stores and how much reach a micro can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of overhead, I know, on the processing side. So it makes sense, a micro doing smokable because, how much is there left over to invest in a lot of processing equipment to, and I mean, everyone's going to have their own path. And I definitely encourage people to join and, apply their creativity and, innovate.
Yeah.
And find success. I want nothing more.
No, I know.
I want to see cool new stuff going on.
No, I do too. I want to see really cool new stuff. I actually saw something. This is not new, but it's just the first time I've really seen it in New York. There's Chillum smokable flights. So it's like a 4-pack, a little glass Chillum. My cousin Jess, who's been on the show before, down in Happy Valley, they do it. So they'll have their 4 popular strains, like little one-hitters in the Chillum, and they'll package them like that. Really cool, nice glass hardware. So.
Nice.
Yeah. But we're expecting a lot of innovation coming out of your end, Missy, in the next year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of, so I'm working on more SKUs currently. We have 3 more Snobby vapes that will be coming out. These are limited edition and small batch, frequent release. We will have mints dropping as well as tinctures.
Cool.
Yeah, some mints in the Senior Moments line, as well as one for Love Weed, and tinctures. Yeah, the Dankinator 1000, the 1000 milligram, 30 ml. So that's 33 mig Delta 9 per 1 ml oil liquid that goes under your tongue sublingually.
Yeah.
Yep. So that one I call hot sauce.
Okay.
I'm a fan of it. A lot of people are a fan of it. Someone on our team, he uses it as his bong chaser.
Bong.
He's a little aggressive, but we always tell him, you're the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
But there's space for all types of people.
That's right.
Yeah. He fits the Snobby brand great. Speaking of more innovation as well, we have great results on some nano-emulsion. We've been working on that project for a while, and it's going in a good direction. We've made progress. Recently, we've got back some good particle size results because a lot of these products and brands that say they're fast-acting, they don't really advertise or disclose their particle size and actually have that included. It's not required, as the typical full panel product testing, but it's great to actually prove we are reaching this particle size, and this is why this works. So we've been able to reach 100 nanometers, which is plenty small. We actually, it's a little, it's in the right range, but we don't want to go any smaller than that. And that will help the cannabinoids be faster acting, and you will absorb them more efficiently. You'll absorb more of the milligrams that you actually consume, so it's more efficient, more bioavailable, and it will stay Delta 9 when you consume the nano-emulsion product because it enters your bloodstream quickly due to breaking down the particle size under high pressure and encapsulating them into water-soluble ingredients. Yeah.
Wow. So it doesn't go through the first pass metabolism. So that's where
not through your liver and traditional GI digestion. No. It goes quicker and gets absorbed faster into your bloodstream directly.
So THC regularly, what is the particle size of like a THC distillate?
We sent CBD distillate. So very similar. They have very similar molecular weight. And that CBD distillate was 4,400 nanometer.
Oh, wow.
4,400, yeah. And so we've had all types of results, like 220 to 150, and now we're closer to where we want to be at 100. It is super interesting. It's a great innovation to bring over from, pharmaceutical, a more traditional industry, and apply it here. totally makes sense. And it's more of a predictable and shorter duration experience than traditional edibles.
That's what I noticed with some water soluble products that I've had is it's like a 20-minute onset compared to that, 45-minute hour onset. It's quick.
Yep.
And it's like a 2-hour thing, which I think is great for a lot of people.
Exactly.
I think that's really great.
Yep. Yeah. Some of our team members, they love traditional edibles, and I'm like, not everyone can like block off.
I know.
4 to 6 hours a whole day sometimes, and so exactly, you're totally on the money with that one. What was I going to say? Yeah, for traditional edibles, it turns into delta 11 hydroxy THC when it goes through your traditional GI tract. And so that traditional digestion takes longer, and delta 11 hydroxy THC again binds tighter to your receptors, such as well the THCOA, and that leads to the longer duration. So the classic edible story where I didn't feel anything, late onset, and then it was all too much and for too long. So this will definitely fit better into people's lives. Sometimes the onset is even quicker than 20 minutes. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm really excited about nano, because of the social aspect. So obviously smoking is really popular, but I think, for me, I like the social aspect of a bar or an event space like that, but I'm not really much of a drinker anymore. A little bit.
Me either. Oh my God, let's talk about it.
So, but these juices, like I have a nano juice that I drink, and what my fiance Rachel and I have been doing at night is, and it's a 100 milligram bottle, it's 12 ounces, and it's dosed pretty much to the milligram. So every ounce is 8.3 milligrams. So maybe one shot, or 2 shots, add it with a little seltzer and a lime. All of a sudden you have this little cocktail.
Cannabis mocktail.
Cannabis mocktail. It's a quick onset buzz. It's easy to dose. It tastes good.
Yeah, it's still a drink.
Like 3
it's
calories.
social. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that wins over alcohol, right? Like the calories that you don't consume when you stop consuming alcohol is huge. Yeah. And alcohol is a oxidant on your body and a poison, really, as opposed to cannabinoids are antioxidants. I'll riff all day on how a lot of people want to just regulate cannabis like alcohol, and I guess legislatively maybe that's simple and cleaner and quicker, but they're so different. However, the societal acceptance of such a inebriating poison, essentially, and it's commonplace and so accepted is definitely interesting. And so for cannabis to be a more benign substance,
it'll get there.
I hope it gets there. Yeah, for sure.
It will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, actually. I was listening to this podcast last week about this guy named George Remus, and he was like, I don't know if it was late 1800s, early 1900s, like the whiskey titan, right? He bought Jack Daniel's brewery, and he got into it at first because he was a pharmacist, and he had a family pharmacy and blah, blah, blah. And back then, you had to get a license to sell whiskey and liquor medicinally, right? So you can kind of see how that transition over many years, led it to alcohol being, more recreational. But when you look at like the medicinality of alcohol versus cannabis, it's night and day. Cannabis, it is amazing that, alcohol to this day with what we know about it. And I sometimes sound like I'm hating on booze. I love to have a drink. I love to have a margarita. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes down to the science and what alcohol does to your body and your metabolism it's poison. That's it.
Yep, it is, right? And it's a solvent. I've been meaning to do this, and I should work with Brandy on doing this. Just doing like a residual solvent analysis on a beer, and they list it 5% ABV or whatever. And so that translates to whatever percent or whatever ppm. I'm too tired at the end of the day to do that quick calculation right now, but it is drinking solvent, and so it's hypocritical how some people are chemophobic about some chemicals and not others, and they're literally drinking solvent, but it's regulated and legal. So we just want to, have the same acceptance and commonality. It'll be really great and cool when these consumption lounges are open, right?
I know. I can't wait
That'll
for
be very
those.
cool.
Right, because right now, like I still love like this, like I said, the social aspect of a bar environment or just like an event. I'm an extrovert. I need people, but I don't always want to go sit at a bar on a Friday because that's not me. I would love to go. Like I would love to go to like a dueling piano bar that's had cannabis or a jazz club or just some sort of place where we could all go and smoke and shoot the shit. And I think I really look forward to the day that we can do that.
Yeah, that will be awesome.
Be sick.
That'll be awesome.
So wrapping up, I want to get an idea of, what you're doing. A lot of speaking, a lot of educating, it seems.
Yes. Yep.
Tell me what's going on and what's next.
Yeah, I'm teaching Intro to Cannabis Processing at SUNY Columbia Green Community College currently.
Let's
This
go.
spring 2023. It's a 7-week course, online asynchronous. So I'm sure if you don't live in the Hudson Valley near Hudson, New York, where CGCC is, you can probably still enroll in the class. And yeah, so I'm doing that teaching. I have been doing brand education for our 3 brands, 2 dispensaries, and I will be at MJ Unpacked speaking as well. Bristol Extracts will have a booth as well. I've seen mock-ups of our booth. It's going to be so dope. We have a corner booth. We're showing off all 3 brands.
Nice.
And yeah, I'll just have to plug them again. We're all on Instagram. They each have Instagram profiles at love_weed, and that's spelled the French way, OUID, weed. Senior _moments_New York, I believe, and snobby_Dankins, and they all have websites as well. So definitely follow us and stay tuned for new launching products. Yes.
Farm to table products.
Made
crafted,
in Finger Lakes, New York.
Formulated by our homegrown, our good friend Corinne Devine, the boss, the professor. I'm telling you, I have this feeling that by this time next year, you're going to be famous.
I don't know about that.
You're everywhere. I'm telling you, don't forget about us.
I will not. Absolutely not. This is where it all started, as we all know.
Hell yeah.
And thank you again for having me and for letting me showcase our products. Any other last product reviews and notes? Plug it up.
Plug it up. Man, I'm definitely trying all of
Put
these
you on the
tonight.
spot.
Product. I'm excited to try your gummies. I tell you this, and you probably think I'm blowing smoke at this point, but your gummies are the best.
Thank you. Thank
Gummies
you.
are the best.
And yeah, let's mention they're vegan. They're only pectin based.
I've tried
Natural flavors.
I've tried a lot of pectin gummies. I've tried making pectin gummies and have not done well. You have perfected the pectin gummy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So congratulations to you on all your success. I'm very excited. I want to, stay in tune with us. Congratulations, and thanks for coming on the show. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, Steve.
Alrighty.
Woohoo.
Woohoo, we did it. This has been another episode of Cannabis Cum Laude. Our good friend Corinne Devine from Bristol Extracts making waves in the New York State cannabis industry. Lots to come for her in Bristol. We'll keep you updated. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Thanks to our friends here at Rockbox Recording and Production in Rochester, New York. They are a full professional podcast and video studio designed by a radio guy for podcasters. Audio, video, voiceovers, editing, whatever. Mouth off at Rockbox at rockbox.com.
You can follow Cannabis Cum Laude on LinkedIn and all other social media platforms, as well as Cannabis. And if you'd like to help support the show, search up Cannabis Cum Laude on Patreon. And of course, all of those links are in the show notes. Thanks for watching and listening.